Well, guys, once again, good evening. Welcome to our session. And well, guys, tonight we officially begin our unit 12. That is the final unit of our cycle B1.3. That means that we will be working on the first 2 pages. The title of the unit says Your Choice. I think, from my perspective, the good thing about this unit is that it still has a connection to models, which was a topic that we were studying on our previous unit 11. So we don't really leave that topic. It's not like talking about something completely new. It's like just to continue with the same line. Well, I already gave you some information about the unit. We will be talking about in terms of grammar, could have, should have, and would have. Also talking about hypothetical situations with the past, vocabulary about problems, task, discuss dilemmas, and the work culture, life in a new country. We would actually do that work culture of this unit, okay? So this is what we're going to cover on our unit 12. But as usual, before we start, I'm going to take attendance. So let me turn my camera off for the moment. I'm gonna display this slide and then we can start. Let me find the chart first and we begin. Today is the 25th already. Wait. Gerson Arismendi.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Keiner Baez.
I'm here, teacher.
Okay. Jean-Claude Barrera.
Present.
Okay. Jessit Calderon.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Natalia Camargo.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Andrés Camilo Correa.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Andrés Corredor.
Present, teacher.
Sorry, okay. Silvia Natalia Cuellar.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Johan Alberto Duque.
Hey, teacher.
Hello. Elkin Darío Fernández. Not here for the moment. Julián Jesús Figueroa.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Ginette Valentina Fontecha.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Carlos Andrés Galán.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Mabel y Juliet Gamboa.
Present, teacher.
Okay. José Alejandro Gómez. Not here yet. Lisette Carolina Tarazona.
Present, teacher.
Okay. And Brian Camilo Vargas.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Let me check the chat. The chat, not the this here. Let's give them a couple of minutes to adjust. Well, guys, as I was telling you tonight, we are going to start our unit 12. We will be covering the first grammatical topic of this unit. As it already states, the language focus 1. And as I was telling you, I dare to say that one of the good things that this has to cover is the fact that we continue talking about modals. You are already, I dare to say, familiarized with this type of grammatical structure. So it is just a good, let's say, I dare to say once again, easy continuation. Well, I was telling you that we will begin. And here on our book, let me refresh your memory on page, for the moment, 116. We have this question that says, how do you respond when things go wrong? And you know, that's the question that we're going to answer first. I'm going to send you the link to this Mentimeter. We have already used this app before. And the idea, guys, is that, of course, keeping it anonymous if you prefer, you're going to answer this question. How do you respond when things go wrong? We are not like specifying if it is in the academic field or personal life or no. How do you respond when things go wrong? For the moment, very short but precise idea. I don't need you to expand too much yet. It's not necessary. Just like something very direct to the point, but of course that answers the question. Okay, did you have any questions about the instruction? Questions?
No, teacher.
Thank you. Bye. I'm gonna give you anyway 4 minutes, probably while you decide, also while you create the statement, and then as usual, then we're going to share. 4 minutes starting now. Okay, guys, time's up. We can start having a look at some of your answers. For the moment, there are already 12. I think that in the meantime, we can see. So the first one says, first of all, I calm down. I'm sharing the screen, yes. I think about things better and then I look for a solution, okay? I may become upset or stressed. Very good in terms like you shared your idea. I am no one, to, let's say, evaluate those types of responses. I try to think about the positive things. We have to try to show a good face. Everything is a learning process. I exercise to calm down and then I think of solutions. If there aren't any, I resign myself. Okay. When it is, I have made an intentional mistakes. I don't get it. Cuando esto es ¿qué? I have made intentional mistakes. Me confunde. I don't feel comfortable, but I always try to do my best with the hope that the result will change, okay? It's not my fault. If it isn't, it isn't, right? I feel stressed, but then I take a break and continue with my things, okay? I feel very stressed and in a bad mood, and I try to keep working and solve the problem. First, I try to keep the calm, not to keep calm. Esto se va. Este no lo necesitamos acá. And think the things well. This is like very Spanish, okay? Y pensar bien las cosas. That looks like when we speak in Spanish, but in English, the well would go at the end. And think the things well. I just ran away. Hopefully that's how we can make things up. First of all, I cried. Then I told my parents and asked them for help. Told is like past. Como que luego le digo a mis padres. Sería then I tell. ¿Listo? Porque todo sería en pasado, como que no se entiende el tiempo. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Notice, well, could be like a very obvious conclusion, but as usual, everybody has a different way to approach things. Some of you a little bit more, let's say, calm down, being a little bit more practical, talking about the different steps to take. Others a little bit more, let's say, emotional. Depending on the situation, of course, everybody has a different reaction. We're going to have a look at the book, guys. Remember, once again, page 116. And, actually here we have a kind of, let's say, quiz. And the idea, guys, we're going to read the quiz. I'm going to ask some of you, of course, to read aloud the questions and the answers. And, of course, to give me your answer, the one that you consider would actually suit you. The idea, guys, is that everybody, all of you guys also take the quiz. Like you decide on your own if your answer is A, B, C, or D. And then at the end, we would see like the big summary to know, well, that these things are not like 100% reliable. That's not like the intention, but just to see how, let's say, the tendency goes. Let's have a look at question number 1. Yesid, could you read it, please? Read the question, the 4 possibilities, and also what your answer would be.
Okay, teacher. Number 1, you've been working really hard and you start to feel ill. You had a headache and you feel nauseous. You think, A, it'll take a couple of painkillers and it will pass. B, shouldn't have worked so hard recently. C, oh no, this is the start of something really serious. D, why do this thing always happen to me?
Okay, just 2 things of pronunciation while you think of your answer, Gerson. Headache, nauseous.
The answer for me may be A.
Okay. Have you been in a situation like this, Gerson?
Yes, it.
Ay,
Yes.
Virgen. Well,
Okay.
You know,
Yes, yes.
actually, because I'm kind of sick. That is the reason why. Maybe I would say some crazy things tonight. So that is the reason why. It is not an excuse, but I'm just clarifying. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Your answer.
Okay, and my last word, I have a problem. I have still, how do you say gripa? Still, ill.
Para decir gripa, like you had the flu. To be more
The flu,
specific, the flu.
and I feel bad and take one
And
painkiller.
took. Okay. And then you could continue working normally, is it?
Yes, or in that moment, yes. But more later, I have problem with my headache, my
Headache?
headache, I have fever, fever,
Fever.
fever.
Oh my God, that's bad.
I think this COVID.
Probably it was. Or it was COVID, or you knew that it was COVID. Was it COVID?
No.
No? Well, thank goodness for that. Okay, Jessie, thank you very much. Guys, remember that you also, like, personally, you're choosing the answers of your questions. Let's go with question number 2. Mabeli, could you read it, please?
Question number 2, teacher.
Yes.
You have a meeting with your boss. She tells you that you need to improve your performance. After the meeting, you think. A, how can I show her I'm better than she thinks? B, I shouldn't have taken this job. C, I better start looking for a new job. I'm going to lose this one. D, she was complete wrong. I should have given my point of view.
Okay, very good. First of all, just to clarify, guys, do you remember the meaning of improve?
Mejorar.
Okay, very good. That would be it. So in your case, Mabeli, what would be the answer from your point of view? What would you choose?
Teacher. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have taken this job. How?
Have you been in a situation like that, Mabeli?
No.
Okay, yeah, the reason why, like, you're literally guessing because, well, that doesn't apply to you. And maybe any of your friends or someone you know has been in a situation like that? Mabeli.
Teacher, I don't remember.
Well, okay, no problem. Yeah, because it doesn't look like something that happens too often, right? Well, in your case, for you, for the moment, or like for the sake of the exercise, you would choose B, right? Let's have a look at number 3. For number 3, I would like to ask Carlos to read it.
Yes, teacher. You are driving.
Driving,
And you make a mistake. You nearly hit a car coming the other way. You think, hey, that was unusual. I'm normally a really good driver. I wasn't concentrating. I'll have to drive more carefully. See, I could have died. D, that driver shouldn't be on the road.
The road, okay. So
Maybe
Carlos,
the
what about
answer
you?
A.
So do you consider yourself a good driver, Carlos?
Yes.
So you
Not
always...
professional, but good.
Have you been like on minor, situations related to accidents or things like that or no?
In one occasion, but it's not my. I don't origin the problem.
I
The
didn't.
other driver.
Okay, so yes.
But
That
it
is
was a small problem.
accident, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, thank goodness for that, by the way. Very good. So far the record is positive. Thank you, Carlos. Let's have a look at question number 4. Sylvia, could you read it, please?
Number 5.
4.
4, yes. Okay. After an argument, your partner storms out of the house. You think A, he or she will calm down. We can work it out. E, I wouldn't have walked out like that. It's a bit silly. C, I lost him, her forever. D, she's such an idiot.
Idiot.
Sorry.
Very good. So, from your opinion, Sylvia. Natalie? Sylvia, no.
Storms out is like what?
When you're storm out of a place, it's because you are really angry, and then you probably close the door like really hard, making a really loud noise, and like it is pretty evident that you are really, really upset about something.
D. I wouldn't have walked out like that. It's a bit silly.
Okay, very good. Probably looks a
Yeah.
little bit personal, but have you been in a situation like that, Sylvia?
No, teacher. No.
Okay.
With my parents or with a partner.
Okay. Well, if you haven't, you haven't. Thank you, Sylvia. And we finish this mini quiz with question number 5. Andres Correa, could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. So the last one is your best friend is driving alone. She stops to help someone by the side of the road. That person takes her money and steals her car. The next day, your friend is crying as she tells you the story. You say, it's not your fault. You couldn't have known it was a trick. B, I hope you have learned a lesson. C, I wouldn't have stopped to help a stranger. Never. D, people like that should be shot.
Okay. So what would be your answer on this?
Okay, I will choose the option A. It's not your fault. You couldn't have known it was a trick.
Okay. Have you been or any of your friends in a situation like that?
No, not that I remember. I haven't in that situation.
Haven't been. Okay.
Yes.
Great, because it doesn't look nice. Okay, guys, remember that the idea was for you also, like the ones that didn't read, to take the quiz as well. In a moment, we're going to know how many A's did you have. The idea is to see, let's say, the majority of answers, and maybe you have more A's, more B's, more C's. Remember, guys, that, well, you have the quiz on your book. I'm going to give you 2 minutes, probably to scan one more time the statements, the questions and the answers. And then you are going to share which answers are the ones that you have the most. Could be A, B, C, or D. Okay? So 2 minutes for you to have a look at them, and then we're going to see what those answers mean. 2 minutes starting now. Okay. So, Elkin, how or which letter actually is more predominant in your answers? A, B, C, or D?
Okay, I have technical, how do you say empate, teacher?
A tie.
A tie. I have two A's and two B's.
Okay.
And finally, one C in the last
question.
sentence, in the last question, yes.
Okay. We'll see what that means in a moment. Jose, what about you? Which predominant letter do you have in your answers?
Teacher B.
B in your case. We'll see. Jean-Claude, what about you?
B, teacher.
B as well. And you, Lisette?
A, teacher.
A? Okay. Let's have a look at what the letters meant. Of course, you know that these are not like 100% reliable things. Just like a quiz, of course, it doesn't mean that that's actually what happens to you in reality, once again, 100%. So what does A mean? It says you are confident. Let's see the description of this part. Andres Felipe Corredor, please. Could you read this description for mostly A?
The description of mostly
Mostly A. The first paragraph.
mostly A. Okay. You are confident and optimist. When things go wrong, you try to resolve the problem. You look to the future, not the past. But something find it difficult to accept you miss your mistake and to learn for them.
Sometimes. Okay, that was from one. What about when it is mostly B? Carlos, could you read the description, please?
Yes, teacher, mostly B. You are logical. You are logical and sensible. You are always calm in a crisis, and you never panic. You accept your mistakes and you try to learn from them. You are not at all emotional. Sometimes you want to feel more passionate.
Passionate. Very good. Thank you, Carlos. The other day, in one activity, we found the word sensible. Let's recall, do you remember, guys, what sensible means? Because it's not sensible, we also agreed on that.
Sensato.
Sensato, razonable, excellent, very good. Just like to refresh your memory, but it is pretty clear that you remember that as well. Kelvin, could you read the description for mostly C, please?
Okay, mostly C. Mostly C, excuse me. You are fearful. You are a bit of a warrior. You think about the future a lot and you worry about what might go wrong. You tend to panic when things go wrong. You sometimes wish that you were more adventurous.
That's it. Very good. And what happens when most of the answers are D, Jeanette? Could you read that description, please?
Mostly D. You are emotional. When things go wrong, you sometimes blow your top. You don't believe that you are ever wrong or make mistakes. You tend to blame other people for problems, and you sometimes have big arguments with your friends.
That's it. Once again, remember, it doesn't mean that you are absolutely 100% like that. It was just like some of those quizzes that maybe at some point you have already taken from magazines. Notice that in mostly D, it says blow your top. Well, the whole expression. Do you remember what that one means? Blow your top? What would be like a good synonym in English for blow your top?
Lost your head, maybe.
Like lose your head, okay. Could be. Also, if you want to have like something like to relate it to, that means like to be really, really, really angry. We already know what angry is. So blow your top is like maybe 3 times more than that. Okay, that is the idea of that expression. Also to become like really angry. Very good. Well, guys, thank you very much. Once again, let's not take that like the final word of how you actually behave in your life. Tonight we're going to have our collaborative moment a little bit earlier, although the final product of our session tonight is going to be something individual. So that is why this group work is happening, let's say, earlier than the usual. Guys, you're going to think of a problem that you have experienced recently. And well, in this case, we're going to share something more specific of our lives. And once again, the question will be, how did you react? Something that I always like to clarify in this type of activities is that, guys, I don't want you to feel, that I want to be nosy about your personal life. When I say a problem, that could be something related to work, or at the end of the day, anything that you feel comfortable sharing, okay? I don't want you to feel, once again, that you don't want to express your ideas because maybe you are thinking about something personal. If it is something too personal, think of something else, I'm not, once again, I'm not asking you to tell me a romantic problem, a problem in your house with your parents. That's not at all what I mean. Any problem that you had, okay? And so you will be sent to breakout rooms. The idea, guys, is that on your groups, you gotta be very, let's say, organized, because each participant is going to have up to 1 minute to share the problem, what it was about, and how, guys, you reacted to that problem. After all members on each group share the problem, you guys as a group are going to choose one problem that then is going to be shared then with the whole class when we come back, okay? So first of all, I'm gonna give you here, let's say in the general call, a few minutes to think of a problem that you had. And of course, let's say the start of the session, this question that says, how did you react? On each group, you are going to have, well, the part of taking the time, it's like the responsibility of you guys on your group, right? Remember, guys, that you will have up to 1 minute to share what the problem was and, of course, how you reacted. Then choose in your group that problem that you want to share with the whole class. Different from other sessions that I tell you, choose a speaker. In this case, I'm going to say, for example, okay, Mabel, tell me the problem that you chose in your group. Could be maybe your problem, or could be maybe the problem that your classmate shared. So everybody on each group has to be ready to share the ideas with the class. Okay? Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
No, teacher.
Okay, we don't have repeated accounts tonight, right? No, great. 333. Great. Well, guys, first of all, as I told you, here, like everybody all together, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. For the moment, probably just for you to write down very general ideas or maybe just keywords. So they are gonna help you when you go to the breakout rooms. You don't have to give me any type of evidence like on writing down or anything, because as I told you, the final product of tonight's session is going to be an individual activity. This is just part of the, let's say, guiding understanding of the session. So 3 minutes for you guys for the moment here to brainstorm the ideas of the problem that you had. 3 minutes starting now. Carlos, for the moment, what you are doing is brainstorming this first part before going to the breakout rooms, because the idea that when you go to the breakout rooms, you will already know the problem that you will talk about. That is
Yes,
what you
teacher,
are
but
doing.
in this moment is individual.
Yeah, because
Okay,
here it's just like on your own. Mhm.
okay.
Silence. Okay. We're gonna go now to the breakout rooms. Remember, guys, when you are on your groups, most groups are of 3 participants. Remember that you have each of you 1 minute. Once again, make sure, guys, to be very organized with your groups. And then we would get back. And remember, everybody has to be ready. I'm going to choose from every group that person to share the problem that had been already stated. I know that it is not going to be as perfect as expected, but then on each group, the activity is going to have 8 minutes in total from the moment that you go to the breakout rooms until the moment that we get back. Then you make sure that you can share your screen. I had already done that, okay. Everybody's here, I think, no repeated names. Well, guys, let's start. Well, guys, welcome back. I hope that you had the opportunity to pay attention to the stories shared by your classmates. I know that 1 minute is not enough, but that's like the intention to edit yourselves in order to share what it was being asked, the problem, and of course, how you reacted. I would like to start with group number 3. We had Andres, Jean-Claude, and Lisette. Lisette, in your group, which problem did you discuss? Or did you share? It was not like a discussion, right? Lisette? Lisette is not here.
No, no está en la sala. No.
Ahora sí
Yes,
la
teacher.
veo. I didn't see your name. As I was telling you guys, I'm quite ill tonight, but sorry for my mistake. So, Lisette, which problem did you guys share?
Hello.
There you are. Hello, Lisette.
Okay. Sorry, teacher. Es que no había entrado todavía. ¿Me nombraron?
Ah, sí,
Sí, es
yes.
que I have a bad connection today and I was late here.
Okay, Lisette, don't worry. Well, you know how luck is from group number 3. I was asking you like to share the problem that you guys, let's say, voted to
Okay.
share with the whole group.
Okay. We choose my problem.
Okay.
And when I was finishing my university, my mom got seriously ill. My mom was in a deep depression, and I am only child, and there's just my parents and I. So I had to take care of my mom and the house because my dad, was working, and I had to take care of my mom and the house and also my university. I was finishing and I was working at the hospital. So it was really hard for me. Uh, so I thought that the solution was to quit my university, but then I thought more carefully and I didn't do it. And I learned how to cook, and I woke up every day at 3 a.m. and I went to bed at midnight, and I did all the things in my home and at university, and then I finished university and my mom got well, and
Okay.
that's the end.
Great ending, Lisette. Thank you very much for sharing your story. Well, let's continue now with group number 6. In group number 6, we have Brian, Carlos, and Sylvia. So, Brian, which problem did you choose in your group?
Okay, teacher, we shared a problem about Carlos and his girlfriend. Okay, the problem, bueno, they were in their apartment when his girlfriend's phone started to fail until war, and they thought it going to exploit, and then they felt anxious and worried, caused it was a new phone because it was a new phone, but they waited till the phone worked again, and it bueno, and that is the problem, the trouble, and it happened.
Okay, so the cell phone didn't explode, right? And it
Yes,
continue working normally.
yes. They was waiting for
They were.
for sorry, they were waiting for bueno, they need to use a application in this moment,
in that moment.
and in that moment, and and after the phone uh, was was where?
Mm-hmm. Yes, Brian.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, I got the gist of the idea. Thank you. And of course, group number 6. Let me continue with group number 1. We have Jeanette, Gerson, and Natalia. Natalia, what was the problem that you guys shared in group number 1?
Okay, teacher, we choose my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Last Friday, the electricity went out in my home, and I had to go to English class. I worried a lot, but then I calmed down and I not notified noticed the
Notified, it's okay.
notify the electricity company about the power failure.
Mm-hmm.
And next, I told the coordinator Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
I told her my problem, and I shared the screenshots of the report with her, and she helped me with the excuse for my absence that day.
Mm-hmm.
The electricity finally come back on Sunday.
Came back.
Came
On
back.
Sunday?
Yes, teacher, in the uh, field, campo.
Oh, no, that would be the countryside.
Okay, in the countryside, when there are storms, the electricity go out frequently.
Oh my God.
Yes, teacher.
Complicated situation. Well, Natalia, thank you very much. And of course, also group number 1. Let's continue. Group number 4. We have Elkin, Johan Alberto, and Yesid. Johan Alberto, what problem did you guys voted for?
Hi, teacher.
Hello.
The problem was this Elkin.
Okay.
Elkin, the problem was Elkin was assigned a homework and work, and
Mm-hmm.
that same day he had the English exam. He was late, though would not be able to finish and would lose his place in course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, and that
No
was it.
problem.
And no, of course, we can see that no problem, that he could fulfill both tasks, the ones from work and the ones here at the English course. Okay, thank you for sharing the story, Johan. Excellent. I'm writing down the ideas, the general ideas of the story. Group number 5, Andres Felipe and Keiner. Well, I'm sure that you took less time than the rest of the group. But anyway, Keiner, what problem from
Okay.
these two guys shows?
Okay, we choose the problem of Andres. Andres, he is working on a project in his work. Is working, and he divides the project in different topics. But there is a partner that doesn't have a good communication and don't understand the topics that he needs to realize. Andres is, try to communicate the problem with his partner, but is a, a person that is worth to keep in contact. It's hard to be in contact with him, and he tries to work in the project, but there isn't a delay because his partner doesn't work in a good manner or not in a team.
Okay.
And
Thank you, Kenner. Just one thing to keep in mind. What is the meaning of realize?
okay, teacher, realize? I don't get it this much.
Yeah, because you said when he doesn't understand that
Yes,
it needs
realize.
to
Yes, teacher.
realize.
Is that what can I say is that working the project, but realize is darse cuenta. Is
Okay. Okay, you know what it means? Just like in the moment.
yeah, yes. I choose
You were thinking.
a different word.
Okay. The important thing is that you know. That's the what
Yes.
we care about. Very good. Okay, Kenneth, thank you very much for sharing Andres' problem. And we finish this part, of course, with group number 2. We have Jose, Julian, and Mabeli. Which voice haven't I heard tonight? Joses, what about you?
Okay, teacher, we choose the problem of Mabeli, for Mabeli. Mabeli had trouble with her car. She told us that she was driving and was involved in an accident with a motorcyclist. Although it was very unfair because she acted with caution. It is the first time something like this has happened to her. So she was very nervous and overwhelmed. The good thing, overwhelmed. Okay. The good thing is that she feels that she is a good driver and that the accident was not her fault. So she's she's peaceful.
She's what? She's what?
Peaceful. She
Okay.
peaceful.
Oh, she's okay.
Okay.
Like, in those terms, it works. Okay, Jose, thank you very much. And of course, group number 2. Yeah, usually the first like accident tends to be a little bit emotional in those cases. Okay. Very good, guys. Thank you for sharing. Of course, I'm sure that everybody has a different story. Eventually, we will have the opportunity to share more ideas. If you haven't spoken tonight, don't worry. I will ask you more questions later. Well, guys, notice that all those situations already passed, right? Those problems happened. You managed to solve them. Some with a happier ending compared to the others. But at the end of the day, we can't change the final results of those problems, right? What happened, happened, like we said in Spanish, of course. And that is something that I want you to keep in mind before we go to the grammatical component of the night. Remember that we continue talking about modals. One thing that I told you at the beginning of the session. So modals in past. In this case, we're going to talk about 3 in particular. I'm going to use like the 2 words, although they are more common in contraction. We have could have or could have, would have or would have, and should have or should have. Notice that the word have, when we use the contracted form, sounds like only like an F. Could have, would have, and should have. That is the most common pronunciation. If you want to say could have, would have, or should have, it's also okay. You know, this is a little bit, let's say, dramatic because these modals are called modals of lost opportunities. That means that it doesn't matter how many times we think of something, we know that we can't change the result, right? That is basically the idea. What we are doing with these modals is thinking about other possibilities that in the past maybe were a good choice, but once again, at the end of the day, we can't change it because the problem already happened. positive or negative outcome, but the problem already occurred, okay? So let's begin with could have. When we're using could have, we're talking about something was possible in the past, but once again, keep in mind, guys, it didn't happen. For example, I say I could have gone directly to college, but I decided to travel for a year. We already know that could is the one that we use to talk about possibilities, right? So when I read this sentence, the first thing that comes to my mind is that in reality, what I did was something different, right? What was the idea of the person, or what was the possibility of this person to go to college? But in this case, at the end of the day, the decision of the person was to travel for a year. So you had the possibility, but you didn't do it. That's the idea of could, or well, could have actually in this case. When we're talking about would have, we're talking about something that you wanted to do, but again, in this case, you couldn't do it. In some cases, when we use would or would have actually, is because I'm putting myself in the position of another person. Like maybe the person had certain reaction on a situation, but then I'm saying what in my point of view probably was the best reaction or the best possibility. For example, it says I would have called, but there was no phone service. So I can see that my action in that moment probably had a different perspective compared to what the real action was in the past. That was basically the main idea. Also notice something very important, guys. If you pay attention like to these two examples, although all of them have exactly the same structure, we have the modal, we have the word have, which is helping us to take, the direction to past. And then the main verb is going to be in past participle. I know that you already know the verbs in past participle, but we need like to, let's say, activate one more time that prior knowledge with all the verbs in past participle that you already know. I would have loaned you the money, but I didn't have any. Once again, I'm talking about like from what in my perspective was the best action to do. But what happened in reality in this example in particular? This action didn't take place because I didn't have the money. So first of all, talking about could, notice that it keeps the essence. Could is talking about a possibility. Would talking about like the best choice, but in this case, it wasn't a choice that I could take in that moment. And keeping the same line, we have should. We already know that should is the one like to give advice, right? So in this case, it's not like necessarily or not only to give advice, but talking about something that I wish had happened. Like in my opinion, probably that was the best outcome. Once again, we can't change the past. For example, I can say, I was so worried about you. You should have called. If I read this statement, you should have called, that is something that I wish that the action took place in the past. What is the reality? That the person didn't call. I wanted that person to call me, but the person didn't do it, okay? Also, from this group in particular, should is probably the most common when we're talking about apologies. Do you remember the meaning of apologies, guys?
Disculparse.
Disculpas.
Exactly. So my action was incorrect. Then I realized that my behavior wasn't the proper one. Then I'm going to apologize. For example, I'm sorry that I'm late for work. I should have woken up earlier. So this is my apology. I accept that this action was the most appropriate for that situation that had happened. So these models, remember, we are talking about regrets because we can't change the past. Probably when you were sharing your problems, you were also thinking, okay, maybe this action was best. In a better situation, probably I could have done something different. I should have done something different, but at the end of the day, we can't change it. Is clear this structure, guys? What would be like an example? Let's you know that I'm not fan of using Spanish, but the structure is a little bit complex. What would be the idea of this statement in particular? I should have woken up earlier. What are we saying with this statement?
In Spanish, teacher?
Yeah,
Yo debería
¿Podría
haberme
haberme
levantado
levantado
temprano.
más temprano?
Debería haberme levantado más temprano. Debería. Yeah, because let's not forget that should doesn't, let's say, doesn't lose, actually, that's the best word, their essence, you know? The same happens, let me go back, with could. Ay, muy atrás. The same happens with could. Pude haber ido, perdón. In this case, could respects the idea in past. But at the end of the day, that was like a possibility, right? From maybe a long or short list, we don't know, we don't care. This was one of the choices, but I didn't take it. My direction was another one. That is the idea. And what about with would? I would have called, for example.
Hubiese llamado. ¿Hubiera llamado?
Yo hubiera llamado.
Podría.
Yo le hubiera prestado la
Ah,
plata. Si podría, nos quedamos con could.
Teacher, it can be like, habría llamado.
Well, you know, the thing is that I'm not really good Spanish teacher. So maybe, I don't know if hubiera, but I think it's the same situation, right? Like, I'm talking about like, I didn't do it.
Okay, yes, I did.
I think that it works. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Spanish is not my strongest point. That's embarrassing, but that's how it works. So guys, keep in mind, regrets. We can't change our past. There are 3 different perspectives. The possibility that I had, but I didn't take it. The action that from my perspective was the best. And of course, talking about a wish that I had. This was my preference, but once again, in reality, none of them already happened. Other outcomes happened at the end of the day. Okay. Well, this actually was the chart that we had on the book. Just in case maybe you wonder when we don't do these charts in this part of the session. But I think this one summarizes pretty well what we were talking about a few seconds ago. So notice that could, talking about it was possible for me. Well, in this case, I could have died, sorry, but I didn't die. Shouldn't have taken this job. These examples are taken from the quiz. Once again, talking about past, because that's the intention. What is the reality? I took the job, but I think it was a mistake and I can't change the moment when I was taking that job, you know? And well, with would, talking about that is the situation that I imagine, you know, like what I wish. Wish probably looks a little bit dramatic because it is not like I am dying for that action to happen, but that was like my preference. But once again, it didn't happen, just a regret, okay? Well, guys, let's start practicing. Let me share the screen. Let me send you the link. I hope I didn't make a mistake this time. Well, guys, what we have in here is some statements. The idea that you have to choose the proper modal. Probably you're saying, hey, but here we have another one. It might. At the end of the day, remember, they keep the essence of the modals, let's say in present, why not? Might means a lower probability than could. And of course, guys, in terms of grammar, without like even reading the statements, any possibility would be correct, right? But then we have to read the context in order to choose which is the correct word. I'm gonna now officially send you the link to the chat. Before I give the instructions, let me know if the link is working, if actually the date is correct. I'm gonna check that one now too. Yes.
Yes, it's work, teacher.
It's working. Thank you. So, for example, number 1 says, it's only 10 sentences. It's very short. Where's Claire? Her bag's here and her computer's still on. So, in this case, must have would be way too demanding, might have really reduced. She couldn't have gone. What would be the meaning of she couldn't have gone?
No pudo haberse ido.
No pudo haberse ido, right? Because notice again the context. The computer is on, the back of her is here. So the conclusion that I make is that she has to be still in that place, okay? So guys, that is going to be the idea. You read the statements. In some cases, you are going to find that there are other models with may or might, which are also part of the probabilities, okay? I already told you that there are 8 sentences. We already did the first one. But anyway, I'm gonna give you 9 minutes, to make sure that all of you guys finish the statements before we go to the individual activity of the night. Let's start. 9 minutes starting now. Answer key. Well, answer key, no, first the podium, of course. Let me refresh the page. 14 out of 14. We have Natalia, Lisette, and Mabel. Very good. You are part of the podium. Now we are going to have a look at the answer key. Let me share now here in case that you have any question. These are the statements. Yeah, notice that we are focusing our attention on the most common, should have, would have, and could have. But at the end of the day, you know that we can use any models. And the idea of may or might, they are, let's say, from the line of could have, in this case, talking about a lower probability that goes more like on that line. That is basically the idea. Notice that it doesn't matter, sorry, if it is or could or couldn't or may or might, even must. We are talking about the same grammatical combination. We have the modal, we have, and then the verb in past participle. And finally, in the case that we want to make it negative, we only add not to the modal, like in the case of couldn't, the case of mustn't as well. The other ones may not or might not. No, haven't. That is something very important to keep in mind, okay? Guys, any statement in particular, any question before we go to the final activity of the night?
Yes, teacher, I have a confused when I use must and might, but it's similar, no?
Well, must is more like an obligation, like it has to be like that. And might is like a reduced possibility. So it's like depending on the context. If it is 100%, let's say, probability, or if it is a 20% probability.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Let's go back to the three modals of the night. Remember, should have, could have, and would have. Let's say that those are the stars, but let's not forget that we have other modals that exist, of course. These two situations are going to be the context to know what you're going to write down about, because at the end of the day, when we are talking about all the modals, we need context. We have the first two situations. We have Jill and George. Jean-Claude, please, could you read this first paragraph that we have in here?
Jill and George, right?
Yes.
Jill, a widow in her 50s, was devoted to her 7-year-old cat, George. However, one day George was run over by a car. When she took him to the vet, she was told that the operation to save him will cost 2,000 pounds, but that it may not be successful.
Sorry, euros. Sorry. My mistake, Jean-Claude.
Okay, teacher. As Jill didn't have much money, her 25 years old daughter agreed to pay with her credit card. Jill said she will pay her daughter back month by month. Unfortunately, George died.
Okay. Thank you, Jean-Claude. Let's read now Jackie and her children. Julian Jesus, could you read that story, please?
Jackie and her children. Jackie and her 3 children, 8-year-old Lucas and 18-month-old twins, were driving to visit a friend on a remote country farm in the middle of the nowhere. Jackie's car broke down. Her mobile had run out, and she had not brought the twins. Pusher with her. She knew that she had passed a pub less than a kilometer before. After waiting half an hour for someone to go past. She locked the car and left Lucas to look after the sleeping twins while she ran to get help. When she returned 30 minutes later, our three children were crying, but they were perfectly safe.
That's it. Very good. So notice that somehow the two situations are a little bit controversial, both on their very own perspective. This is what you're going to do. You're going to discuss, as I told you, is going to be individual. You don't have to talk to anybody. More like the discussion here on the written version of the situation. What the characters could have and should have done, and what you would have done in their situations. So when you get to the presentation, notice that here we already have the prompts. You could, you should. It could be also something negative, you know, like it shouldn't. And then I would. Remember, guys, that when we say I would, it's because you're putting yourself in the situation and then you imagine what your actions would be if you were living a situation like this. So notice, the first two statements are related to, in your opinions, the other possibilities that Jill and Jackie had. But when you say I would, it's because you are going to think if you were in that situation, what in your perspective is the best action to follow. So I'm going to send you the link. Remember that in this case, this activity is individual. But guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
Teacher, can you repeat, please?
Sure. Well, we have already read the two situations, right? So now what you're going to do is to think of the other possibilities that they had. So you're going to write what Gil could have done, okay? And also what, in your opinion, what she should have done. And then you're going to say what you, if you were living that situation, what you would have done in that moment. The same for Jackie. Like, once again, we can't change the past. Those are the outcomes. Those are the things that already happened. But we're going to imagine, you know, the other possibilities that they had. And then with I, remember that that means that you are going to think of your actions if you were living a situation like that. Okay?
Okay, teacher, thank you.
Okay. Well, guys, let me refresh your memory in terms of the slide that you are supposed to land on. I think that we have already passed any possible mistake on that area, but
Teacher,
let's be sure about it. Yes?
teacher, you can like the slides when is the like the stories.
Okay.
To
Sure.
able
Sure.
to
Let
take
me display it again.
screenshots.
Sure. Let me get back. Yeah, better if you prefer, guys, to take a screenshot. There you go. Let me see the names. Gerson already in the first one. Keiner, Jean-Claude. Number 4, ya casi escribe el nombre. 5, Natalia. 6, I guess, is not here anymore. 7,
Thank you, teacher.
Andres. Thank you. Number 8, number 9, number 10, Johan Alberto. Yeah, anyway, I want to display the slide. Well, the slide, not the picture. With the names a little bit more. Okay. This is a slide that I'm going to keep displayed, the one that has the information. Remember, guys, the idea is that we make use of could have, should have, and would have. That's like the main point of the task. I'm not going to interrupt you for around 5 minutes, and I'm going to start having a look at the statement that you have created. Anyway, you already know, guys, that in case that you don't finish tonight, you have tomorrow until 6 p.m. But I don't want to interrupt you anymore. 5 minutes starting now. Okay, I'm going to start having a look at some of your answers. Let's see. Usually you start from the first one. When nothing here, Lisette. I would have done a fundraising social networks. Okay. Ensure that yours is not 100. Okay. Notice, guys, I'm looking at horses. We have until the modal. You have to put the have and then the verb in past participle. Otherwise, it is going to be incorrect. Also, Jose, because I'm looking at yours. Remember, past, yeah, the modal in past. I would explore that looks like something in present. And I want you, let's put it like that, to use like a hypothetical context for you in the past.
Okay, teacher.
Keep that in mind. Very good. Could have been more, but van saliendo las ideas. Sorry?
Thank you, teacher.
Okay, good. Let's see, Gerson. Gerson. First of all, remember that it doesn't matter that it is third person. When we're talking about modals, that rule dies. Let's put it like that. So it is not has, it is always have. It doesn't matter if it is plural or singular.
Okay.
I would have cried a lot. Okay.
I have
Sorry?
been finished.
Sorry. Let's see, Kainer's. Kainer. In your case, the situation is a little bit different because you have the modal, also have, remember that the verb has to be in past participle.
Okay, teacher.
So be careful with that one. Make the adjustment. Jean-Claude, you are not including have in the first one. But be careful with the negative. Because if you say, couldn't have paid us, no pudo haber pagado. Like she didn't have the possibility to pay.
Okay, teacher.
So just keep that in mind. When we make it negative, we are telling that that wasn't like something possible. Yesid, verb in past participle, the same that I told Kainer. Because you said could have take, Could have paid, I would have do, the same. Make the adjustments so the verbs are in past participle. Okay, Yesid? Yesid?
Okay, teacher, I got it.
Okay, great. Not have paid. Yeah, I think that I'm wondering how we are, let's say, analyzing the couldn't have paid. Porque eso sería no pudo haber pagado. Como quien dice, it wasn't possible for her. What do you mean with the first statement, Natalia? Before we go. Él could not have paid for the operation.
Lo mismo así, no pudo, o sea, ella como tenía la elección de no pagar la operación.
The thing is that we gotta be careful because maybe the perception that you guys have is no podía pagar.
Como de no podía es porque no tenía dinero.
No, I mean, if maybe that is what you have in mind, como que ella no podía pagar. O ella no pudo haber pagado la operación.
Pero en el caso, digamos, de decir que ella no, o sea, tenía la opción de no haber pagado, entonces no sería con could.
Esa es la intención, que ella no tenía esa opción de pagar. That's the idea, Natalia?
No, teacher, sorry.
Yeah, because in grammar, that I mean, it's a sentence that has sense. The question is that what you wanted to say? That's just
Okay.
like something to keep in mind. Yes, guys, keep in mind that the modals, then the verb no, because in this case it's not a verb. The auxiliary have, it doesn't matter if it is third person, and then the verb in past participle. And finally, that the statement makes sense. It could be short. Okay, no more pain. Could take. Johan, it looks like modals in present. Remember, we're talking about a situation that we can't change. Porque podría tomar, no, ya. Lo que pasó, pasó. So couldn't have, in this case, could take is like present, make it into past. Okay? Okay, Elkin, as usual. Okay, guys. Guys, don't forget. Oh my God, I always forget. Remember to write down your names for the speaking part that we will have on Friday. I shared this with you yesterday, but as usual, I always remember when we are about to finish the session. Just in case, well, someone is already there, I'm gonna share the link with you. Remember, guys, that in case that you don't care, that you forget, whatever, I take your name from the list and then I put it here to make sure that everybody, of course, knows from the beginning the person you will be working with. Let me remind you guys, and with that information, I finish the session. Remember that the grade is individual. It doesn't matter the person you will be working with. What it is important is your performance, okay? Well, guys, as usual, thank you very much. Don't forget that you have until tomorrow, 6 p.m. in case that you want to make any adjustments. And well, don't forget how to create the statements, the modal, the have, and the verb in past participle. Guys, thank you very much, as usual. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye, teacher.